Okay, so we have a bit of a big problem. So you see right here, that neck, you don't fit in the neck pocket. Now, I thought I was being paranoid. I was like, oh no, surely that overlap is fine. I've seen guitars with an overlap like that before. Nah, that's a bit much. It doesn't sit in the pocket well, and consequently, your low E does not sound like a low E. It sounds like a whatever the heck that is. Okay, so I think I found the problem. I do believe that the neck pocket is not level. So this is my hand pressed firmly against the bottom of the neck pocket, and you can see that the neck is not even close to flush with the top. I measured at the bridge side of the neck pocket, so I know it's the proper depth there. It's hard to measure the depth up here, and I don't have a level, so I think the neck pocket is not machined correctly, which would lead to this gap. It's hard for me to really get a good shot of it there, but there's, God, it's got to be close to 2 or 3 millimeters of space between the headstock side of the neck pocket and the actual neck. I could stick my fingernail into it. You could see the screws. You could store picks back there, multiple picks, on top of each other, probably 1 mil picks on top of each other. So, look, here, you need a place to put your pick? I got you. So, that's a problem. Shouldn't be able to use the neck pocket to store picks. It's not what it's there for. It's there to hold the damn neck to the guitar. So, I'm running out of ideas. But thankfully, the brilliant internet luthier community, which is always right and never says anything controversial, they have an idea. The idea, which I like and I've heard before, but I've never given it much thought. So here's what we're going to try. We're going to take the neck off one more time, and then we're going to come in with the drill, and we're going to take an 11/64 drill bit, and we're just going to clean up the body holes for the screws. Because really, the screws should not be catching on the body. The threading should be catching on the neck only to hold the neck in place. So it should just drop through the body, and I'm not sure if it does right now. So we're going to try that. I'm running out of ideas, so I hope this works. So let's see. Is the threading catching on the body? Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. So maybe there's something to that, because that does not drop in at all. It barely goes in a millimeter or two. And knock it back and forth to even get it to try. So clearly the threading is catching on the body and not the neck, which is what we don't want. So maybe this will work. Fingers are crossed. Oh, watch this. Remember from before? Nothing to it. What threading? So, we'll see if that makes any difference. All right, so we've drilled out the holes in the back of the body, we've reattached the neck, and maybe you can see right here, substantially less of a gap. I would say it's like a quarter of what it was before. Before it was an unacceptable neck gap. If you had small hands, you could almost stick your pinky in between the neck and the pocket. Now, it's less than a millimeter. It's, about as thin as my fingernail. So that's much better. This is an acceptable gap between the neck and the pocket. I've seen this in other guitars. I probably own guitars that have this much of a gap between the neck and the body. Whereas before, unacceptable. And another thing I notice, which kind of speaks to the truth of the neck pocket contact idea, is that when there was that huge gap between the neck and the body, when you would play a note, it would just die. It's a little bit sustained, but more than anything, it's like the life of the note. Like you play it and it's not satisfying. It doesn't sound like a note's supposed to sound when you play it on the guitar. It's just kind of like, plunk and gone. And that was terrible. If that's what guitar sounded like, I wouldn't want to play guitar. So definitely an improvement from that. However, not without issues. So this did help, but allow me to illustrate the problem by playing you some notes. So let's go with C. Okay, that's a problem. How about F? Oof. Nope. How about A? I don't think so. So that's a problem. We're still fretting out, and saddle-wise, not a whole lot we can do about this. Now, I could try putting some relief into the neck. That might help with some of the fret buzz at some frets, but that's not the way to solve the problem. I do not like to add relief into the neck to get rid of fret buzz issues. That, to me, is not why the truss rod is there. The truss rod is there to keep your neck straight or close to straight. That's why it's there. The truss rod is not there to fix action and fret buzz issues. That is not what it's for, in my opinion. So I'm not going to use it that way unless I have to. And I think that might cause more problems than it solves, frankly. So that leaves us with two options. Now, coming from the science world, I'm always going to opt for the non-destructive method first. So here we have our two options. We have the non-destructive method and the destructive method. Common sense and science will tell you to do the non-destructive method first. So what's that for us? Let's put a shim back in. Maybe a thinner shim this time, but now that I'm actually making good contact, I think that a neck shim, a reverse neck shim by the headstock end, might just give me enough clearance to make this function. So that's the non-destructive method. It is going to change the angle of the neck a little bit, which is not ideal, but if it works without too much of an extreme angle change, then I'll take it. Option 2, which we'll do if option 1 fails, is I'm going to take a leveling beam and I am going to level the neck pocket. I'll lower the whole thing a little bit and try to get it level. I'm going to try to take off less than 1 millimeter, but it'll be hard to tell. But definitely putting the neck a little lower is going to get rid of those issues as well. So those are our two options. We're going to go with the shim first. If that doesn't work, we'll go with the destructive method. Okay, so I put a little sheet of paper in the back of the neck. You can sort of see it there. I doubled it over twice. So, I guess it's sort of 4 sheets of paper, I guess. And that seemed to do the trick because now the saddles are still pretty darn high, but they're definitely not maxed. I was able to lower them quite a bit from where they were before, and before they were maxed and I still had fret buzz and notes choking out. And now they are not maxed and everything rings out real nice. Right there we are at no fret, 0 open E. How about a B? How about a D? And then an E. So it plays fantastic now. In fact, this guitar, I like high action, and due to my inferior setup skills, all my guitars have high action, some out of necessity, but I actually really like high action. And this guitar now has the lowest action of any guitar that I own, which is insane because 20 minutes ago it had unplayable action, and now it has smooth, low action, which is amazing. And all I needed to do was drill out the holes in the body pocket and put a little neck shim in. And from there, it's just saddle adjustment and intonation. So it pretty much plays perfectly now, except, I don't know if you'll pick this up, but, oops. Little sitar-like tone there. I think I'm gonna put a string tree in because, so you hear the sitar sound? Now no sitar sound. But also get some pretty nice vibrato there. High E doesn't seem to have that problem, but string tree goes across both, so it doesn't create a problem. So I think that's the only thing left.